Hey everyone. Well, welcome to Mission Impact with myself, Tracy D. Allen, Daphne Pettis, and Ty Boone. And we come to you once a week, every week, and we give you some type of actionable strategy that you can use to impact your mission, because that's all we're about, is impacting your mission. So today we're going to be talking about what is capacity, and I know Ty is extremely passionate about capacity building. Right? She can talk forever on this topic about building capacity because it is the road to your success. So my name is Tracy D. Allen. I'm the owner of TVA Consulting. I am an impact strategist, social enterprise consultant, and small business funding strategist. I have about 23-ish years in this industry, and we're here to just help you today. So Daphne?
I am Daphne Pettis. I am a social strategist, nonprofit consultant, and philanthropic advisor. And as she said, we're just here to help you and give you the experience and knowledge that we have to help you grow and sustain your nonprofit organization.
Daphne, I need you to break down that social thing because I just love it. So break that down because
it's a social strategist, SOUCHIL, and the whole purpose and goal is to assist founders with strategies to help them manage and maintain themselves and their nonprofit at the same time, so that they grow personally and professionally, so that the nonprofit organization does not fall and falter while they are doing the thing, as they call it. So yeah.
And Ty and I might need your services because we be falling apart on a regular basis.
Talking about breaking, but that's the gravy right there, and that's a part of capacity building. My name is Ty Boone. I'm Enterprises. I am a nonprofit success strategist and a program development strategist as well. Just like Tracy and Daphne, I got 20-some years in the game, y'all. We old out here in these streets. I'm doing what we do. Trying to help nonprofits and social enterprises move from startup and struggle to sustainability and success. And all of that requires capacity building and, mission focus and everything that we talk about here in our time together.
Yeah. All right, Ty. So this is your show. Go on.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell y'all. So as Tracy put it out there, capacity building is one of my things because I just see so little of it.
Mm-hmm.
I see so little of it, and I see organizations and businesses all the time forget about it, not really even understanding what it is. People come to me all the time and they ask that, they're asking for funding. Ty, we need some grants. We need some money. We need to have a fundraiser, and we're trying to raise $1 million. And my questions always lead back to, well, where are you currently? What's your current capacity to do this thing? Even something like fundraising, when you're saying, hey, I need to raise $1 million. Are you able to do that? What do you have internally that's going to allow you to raise $1 million if you're coming to me and you've never raised money before, at least not on that scale? What does your team look like? Are you able to invest what it takes to raise $1 million in your time, in your energy, financially? All those things are capacity components that we forget about. Who is in leadership position? Who is going to be chairing your fundraising committee? Do they even have the qualifications to do this on $1 million scale? And if not, we got to work on getting you strong first. Daphne, Tracy and I talked in Clubhouse a couple of, was that weeks ago? I don't even remember. About capacity building, and I had an elevator example, right? When you're going into this elevator and it tells you what the weight capacity is, this is 1,000 pounds or whatever. And that once this elevator is full, it's time to get out the elevator, move to the open area, or get into a larger elevator so you can hold this, right? But if you're coming in and it says we can hold 1,000 pounds and you're just you're one person, you're not 1,000 pounds, that means you have room to grow. And that's kind of where we want it. We want you to understand what your capacity ceiling is, but know where you are so that you can grow and fill this space in your capacity, and then move to your next space or your next, what I like to call next level of best. And that comes with leadership, who's at the top. That comes with things like your programs and your services. What do they look like? If you're putting it out there, do you have the ability to operate at the level that you are communicating? Because sometimes we be out here telling stories, y'all. It's like we got, I look at these websites and y'all have programs that y'all are I call your organization and you won't got nothing. Like no programs are running. And you're like, oh, we're short staffed. You need to work on staffing capacity. This is what you need to, and assessing where you are, how you want to move forward is the first step. Realizing, hey, this is what my leadership looks like. These are the areas that we need to strengthen our leadership in. Things like being the subject matter expert. I talk about that all the time. If this is your business, if you're the nonprofit organization, if you're the social enterprise, and used tires is your mission, you need to know everything there is to know about used tires, because that's your jam. Right? And what you do not know, you need to start investing in education and training so you can know this. And now you increase your capacity, because the more you know, y'all know Dr. Seuss said that, the more you know, the stronger you grow, right? You want to get that together so that you can grow and you can get partnerships. You're starting internally, but capacity building ends up being an external job, because people on the outside get to see that you can work in ways that they can't work without you. So it makes you more available for partnerships, and then you expand that way. Y'all go. I ain't gonna talk the whole time. Y'all go ahead.
I agree with what you're saying. And I think one of the things that we talked about, I forgot we have all got our cups.
Yes.
Wait, where's my cup? There's my cup. There's my cup.
Camera that way.
One of the things that one of the tools you can use to start you off on the capacity building road is what we talked about yesterday in Clubhouse Time, which is a SWOT analysis, right? Because it helps you to figure out what your deficits are in your organization, what your strengths are and what your deficits are. And a lot of times we do not want to admit that we have weaknesses or threats to our organizations. A lot of us don't even want to do any type of, what is it called? Self-assessment. Not even the self-assessment. We don't want to compare ourselves to other organizations that are out there. Right? Because we feel that we are the only authority in our field, in our area, doing what we're doing. But if you can't do competitive analysis, you guys have to mess up from Bob. Okay? So it's not that I don't know what I'm talking about. Sometimes when I want the words to come, they just don't come, right? So they don't want to do that competitive analysis to figure out what's going on out in the marketplace that they're trying to occupy space in. And that is part of capacity building, because if you don't know what the person, the next organization or the next company or business is doing, how can you actually build to capacity? Because you don't know what your potential capacity is. So if there's a business out there doing better than you, you need to kind of study that business and see how they grew to capacity. What did they have to have in place in order to build to where you want to get to? So taking the time, doing your SWOT analysis and doing some competitive analysis is an important strategy. We're not telling you to go out there and try to beat the other person to the punch. Like, this is not a dog eat dog world. It is for capacity building, for understanding where you are now and where you potentially want to be, and how the steps, the processes, and the personnel, like you talked about, that you're going to need to get you to that level. So making sure you take the time. Most people don't want to do the basic part of capacity building, which is foundation, laying that foundation. I always use the reference or the analogy to building a house. If your house is built on a weak foundation, you could have up the most expensive blocks or timber or whatever it is you're building your house out of. If the foundation that's holding up the rest of the building is weak, your house will eventually crack and crumble. You may last in the house for 2 years, but year number 3, the walls are going to start cracking. Year number 4, the ceiling is going to start falling in. It is just what it is. So it's the same thing with building your business, building your nonprofit. and building to capacity, you have to make sure that foundation is strong.
And I'm actually going to touch on the fact that founders, you all need to do capacity building as well, and capacity assessment, and figuring out what you as a founder lack in regards to knowing what you need for your nonprofit organization. What do you need to properly run it? What in a leadership position that you lack that will take your nonprofit to the next level? And I think sometimes that's where founders, they don't touch on themselves in regards to the nonprofit. They actually just sit and don't grow themselves, so their nonprofit does not grow. So capacity does not only mean your organization, it means you as well. And so you have to do that personal SWOT analysis too, and be honest with yourself. If you don't know financials, you don't know fundraising, you don't know just the basics of nonprofit operations, then it's time for you to invest in yourself so that you can be an asset to your nonprofit organization and not a liability.
Right. And just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, because I know there's someone who's going to take that and they're going to take it to a whole nother level. She's not saying that you have to do everything in the organization. She's just saying you need to be knowledgeable about the things in your organization, because before we got on here, we were just having a conversation, and not knowing basics can cost you so much money. If you're just giving something to someone else to do and you're not taking the time to at least understand the surface level of what that person is doing, they could be doing nonsense with your organization, and you will be none the wiser until you turn in your documents to IRS, or you get an auditor to come in and they're like, wait a minute, hold up, what is going on here? And you're like, but I had someone who said she was a blah, blah, blah doing XYZ. And they're like, look, that person didn't do what they were supposed to do. So just getting to know that the basic overall, the overarching understanding of what is supposed to be happening in your business.
And as many nonprofits or nonprofit founders are operating in a position as executive directors, that's necessary. And you have to know those basic steps, that basic information in regards to each level, in regards to each level of a nonprofit organization. So especially I know that many nonprofit founders are operating as executive directors, so that's necessary. Pull out a executive director job description and see, do you measure up to that? Not one that you created yourself to make you look good in that position. Pull out one from another organization and see if you measure up. And if you're not measuring up, then it's time for you to build your own capacity.
I mean, and leadership is a big responsibility, and I think a lot of times we take it lightly, we take it for granted. I'm the founder, ED, I'm the CEO, whatever, and we just kind of take it just too lightly. There's a lot of responsibility with that, and you're in charge of driving a mission for it. That's what we're here for, mission impact. That's your thing, right? I see it a lot with people in grant writing, for example, who will, push off the grant application to the writer, have no clue about what's going on in the grant application, have no clue about what's needed to write a grant. The biggest thing I hear is, well, somebody wrote a grant for me and they burned me, right? I hear that frequently. And then they'll come to me to have a grant rating. I ask them for stuff and they're like, oh, I don't have any of that stuff, right? If you do not have any of this stuff, how did the former grant writer write a grant for you? So I didn't know I was supposed to have that. You're the ED, you're the CEO, you're the program director, whoever you are. You don't know how many people you serve. You don't know where your 990s are. You don't know if you even had audited financials or not. That's your responsibility. You're in a leadership position. You should know this. I am not telling you have to be a master grant writer, because you don't have to be. That's what you hire folks like us for, right? But you need to know what goes into the application. You need to know whether or not you have people who is paying for grant writing at a federal level, for example, and that's what they think they're paying for anyway. They get something written, and then you come to find out they don't have the right registrations, and they're not in. They don't have SAM.gov. They're not in login. We don't know how are you paying somebody to write a federal grant for you? Oh, I didn't know I had to have that. You have to learn the business of the business that you're in.
Exactly.
You don't have to do the business. That's why you're hiring staff. But you have to know what it takes. You have to know the outline at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, Ty and I both have a program that we run. She runs one for nonprofits. I run one for social enterprises, and we have a list of documents that people have to produce to us in order for us to take them to the next level. And a lot of times we get so much pushback and so many questions about why we require these documents. And we're like, because this is how you actually set up your business for success. And without it, we can't move to the next level. So if you refuse to give us these documents or you refuse to get them together, then you're stuck where you are, right? Because I've talked about on many occasions, and I always reference it, having a corporate binder. These are things that should be in your corporate binder anyway. You shouldn't have to struggle to find them. You should be able to pull something off the shelf or open up a file on your computer and the documents are there, right? So in doing this, all those documents, we're hoping then that, people listen and put these documents in a file, because there are some grants that you're going to apply for that are going to ask you to produce some of these things. And if you don't have them, then you're just not going to be eligible. All this relates to capacity building, okay? Everything here.
You talk about organizing, right? And that's the thing. You don't even know where you are capacity-wise. So you can lay it out in an organized fashion to identify where you might be lacking capacity.
Right.
Yeah, we talked about leaders and founders and EDs and CEOs, but then you have your staff, you have your volunteers. This is bigger than just the term capacity, right? What is it that you're trying to do? What is that mission that you're trying to move forward on? What's the vision that you're trying to accomplish? Do you have what it takes to get you there? And if you do not, what kind of tools, what kind of resources do you need to seek in order to make this happen? And it's not always the money. And I know you guys think so. Well, I can't do this because I don't have any money. No, you can't do this because you won't give me your paperwork. You can't, like this is like what you have to understand that the money comes last.
Yes.
Right? The money comes last. Is the work that you do is what takes you to the money. This is what's gonna attract the support that you need. And so often we chase it. We waste a lot of time and a lot of energy chasing it when we're not ready for it, because we're not at that next level that we can, get this seamlessly. We're trying to get it with our own will. But if you start building the capacity toward it, it comes to you more freely because you're ready for it.
Yeah. All right. For me, that I think I've said everything I wanted to say about what is capacity, Anybody have any last words?
That's it.
We're not at a funeral, but yeah. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for joining us for Mission Impact. This was, again, a talk on what is capacity. We want to demystify capacity and make sure that you understand what it is and you get prepared to actually build capacity in your organization or your social enterprise or business, so that you can be successful, because that is the only way you're going to be successful, is to get your capacity building together. So, all right. Thank you guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.